Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Toons Reviews. Today, we're going to be ranking the top 10 men's fragrances according to Google. Stay tuned. So, typically speaking, I think that when it comes to men, grooming has become, a lot more important over the years. I would say probably in the last decade, like the whole hipster movement and creating that safe place for men, kind of like being able to adventure a little bit in grooming. We see a lot of different places like barber shops and upper scale salons that are now specializing in only men, where men can get pedicures and manicures and massages and stuff like that, where it's a safe space to kind of get in touch with your more feminine side. I personally have never subscribed to that. I was raised by all women. I've always enjoyed smelling good since I was a little boy, and looking nice and having combed hair and nice clothes and all that kind of thing. So it's not new to me, but a lot of men, would get kind of picked on, made fun of for kind of enjoying things that the population has deemed as being feminine, but we've kind of made our way out of that thought process that, smelling nice and looking nice and self-care is only for women. So that being said, I would like to kick this list off by saying that these are more typical men fragrances, I think. You're going to see a lot of aquatics on here, a lot of out of the shower type scents, a lot of lighter fragrances. And I think that these are more typical of what the generalized man would be looking for if he's stepping into a Macy's or something like that. A lot of men, I don't think, are very comfortable with going to Sephora. In fact, I remember when I first went to Sephora, years and years ago, when it first opened up. I think I was about 22, I'm 31 now, at our local mall. One of my friends refused to go in with me because there's makeup there, but they have a whole line of men's products, and I was just like, all right, dude, go do whatever you want. I'm going to Sephora. Anyways, kicking this list off, let's go ahead and go to number 10. So number 10 is a classic. This is a fragrance that was something that kind of created a new category, and that is the unisex fragrance in mainstream perfumery. There were niche fragrances well before this that created this this whole unisex sort of aura, but this was the first mainstream fragrance to do that, and that's CK1 by Calvin Klein. And this fragrance is just a very sweet, clean, out of the shower type of fragrance. It's a little floral, a little citrusy, and yeah, men and women alike were using this for a long time. I remember my mom using it a ton. A girl that I dated years ago wore it, and there's a lot of people that actually wear, couples that would wear it and share it, and very interesting concept brought to the mainstream media market. So for me, CK1 is a classic. There's a lot of fragrances that have kind of riffed off of the idea and riffed off of that DNA. As far as compliments go, as far as projection and longevity and all those little nooks and crannies, as far as the intricacies of the fragrance, it works. It just does. It's a classic fragrance. It's gonna always kind of feel modern, although you're gonna smell it and it's gonna be noticeable to you that you've probably smelled it somewhere else before. So that's the only thing really going against any of these fragrances, is you're gonna have smelled them somewhere before, and CK1 is no exception. Everyone that I know, for the most part, probably knows what CK1 is. They've probably smelled it at one point or another. But as far as all the longevity, the projection, the sillage, the wearability, it's all there. It's a solid release by CK, and it is one that is going to go down as a classic. So I would give it a 7 out of 10. I think it's kind of outstayed its welcome, in my opinion. I've kind of grown away from liking it. It's a little too synthetic for me, but I think most people would love it. It's a great idea for a gift. CK1, number 10. Ah, yes, number 9, a Mont Blanc fragrance. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not a huge fan of Mont Blanc for the most part. I think most of them are very, very cheap smelling, and most of them are carbon copies of other popular fragrances, and this one, again, is no exception. This is Mont Blanc Legend, which is kind of a knockoff of Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce, only Fierce lasts and projects way more and smells better, frankly. However, if you can get this at a discounted price at a discount site, it is worth the money. If you're a college kid or a high school kid that's just getting into fragrances and you just want to smell fresh and clean and kind of musky, woodsy, citrusy thing going on, then definitely check it out. It's a pleasant fragrance. Again, people are going to know what it smells like. Anyone that's walked by an Abercrombie & Fitch knows what Fierce smells like. So again, it's compared to Fierce quite a bit. But yeah, its projection is pretty decent. Its longevity is like 7-ish hours, and you can wear it anywhere, anytime, any place. So for that, I would give it a solid 7 out of 10. So both of our fragrances on this top 10 list aren't doing too terribly bad. On to number 8. Number 8, if you want to smell like a true aristocrat, and I'm being facetious here, Paco Rabanne 1 million. Yes, 1 million. When I first started my journey of collecting fragrances and reviewing them on YouTube, this was like one of probably the most hyped fragrances I've ever experienced, and to this day it remains just as popular. It is the clubbing fragrance. It's deemed as the clubbing fragrance of all time. And yeah, definitely has earned its prestige in that category, I think. It's definitely a fragrance that most people are going to enjoy. It's sweet, bubblegummy, a little floral. Personally, I've liked all of the flankers, literally every one of them, significantly more than the original Paco Rabanne 1 million, especially the private label and the Eau de Parfum, the original, which they discontinued, that had cumin in it. And I really enjoyed Lucky, that hazelnut kind of citrusy concoction. But the original, I did own a bottle, and I just did not jive with it. I still don't. It's headache-inducing to me. It's nauseating to me. And I personally can smell on other people and enjoy it, but for me, myself, I would not wear it. However, projection and longevity, great. 10 out of 10 on both occasions. It's not that versatile. I would say mostly just going out. I don't think that this is something that you should really be wearing in a classroom if you're in college or high school. You're going to choke people out. It's a little invasive. But for a date or going out for an evening with your friends, it's great. And, objectively speaking, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. It's got a reputation for what it is for a reason. It's arguably a great fragrance and one of the best that's come out in the last decade. But for me, it's just not something that I gravitate toward. So I would go ahead. Actually, no. How long has Paco Rabanne 1 million been out? For longer than a decade. It's been a long time. Wow. It's still super popular for how long it's been out for. Anyways, next up is number 7, and 1 million, again, is a fragrance that I do think is very, very decent. So, number 7. Number 7 was considered the number 1 best-selling fragrance of all time for a long, long time, and again, this is based on Google's results, so maybe it still technically is, if you were to ask, someone that's actually in marketing or in sales for fragrance. But this is Acqua Di Gio, which a lot of people, for a lot of men, was their first bottle of cologne ever. Acqua Di Gio, for me, I did not find until probably my first 6 months of collecting fragrances while reviewing on YouTube. So I personally don't like it very much. I think it's a flat Sprite sort of smell. It's kind of chemically, a little bit of that cleaning product for the bathroom sort of smell. But for most people, yeah, that kind of effervescent Sprite citrusy sort of feeling is just what they're looking for. They want something refreshing and easy to wear, easy to throw on. It's a great daily driver fragrance. It is something that is going to get you compliments. The main issue is that whoever owns it is going to inevitably end up smelling like someone's brother or father or ex-boyfriend or whatever. That's okay though, right? There's only so many mainstream fragrances that we can go through that are popular without smelling like someone else at some point. But Acqua Di Gio, to me, it's something that lasts like 6 hours. The projection's moderate, sillage is moderate, and you can wear it all year. Obviously, it does pretty terrible in the winter as far as its projection and longevity. But I think for most men out there that just want to smell fresh and clean, it's a great choice. And a solid, again, 8 out of 10, I would say. It's a classic for a reason, and, people are still buying it like it's, hotcakes. So, yeah, on to number 6. So coming in at number 6 is a fragrance that I personally have a lot of memories attached to, and that is Davidoff Cool Water. This fragrance, obviously, it is compared to Green Irish Tweed by Creed quite a bit. There's the whole conspiracy, which one was made first, yada yada. Cool Water is something that my youngest uncle wore a ton of in high school. I was in middle school while he was graduating, and he would give me rides to school. And he would always spray a ton of sprays on in the morning, and it would give me a serious headache. It was like nauseating, like bad headache. So Cool Water has never been one I've been a fan of. However, it does remind me of all those years of us being younger and messing around and doing fun stuff as kids. So yeah, Davidoff Cool Water is a fragrance that is a great daily driver. Again, I think that is a classic scent. It's gonna be a little outdated in some ways, I think, but it's something that I think, especially if you're like 35 and older for a man, is a great gift idea, a great introductory to fragrance. It's kind of that old school chypre green, but with some blue elements to it. And yeah, most people are just going to be very comfortable with wearing it and confident in wearing it. Its projection and longevity, all that is all pretty decent. I would give it a 6 out of 10. I think Green Irish Tweed is way superior to it. And it's just, yeah, it's a pretty decent release for Davidoff, and obviously it's been a popular fragrance that has sold tons and tons and tons of bottles throughout the years. So yeah, Davidoff Cool Water. On to number 5. Coming in at number 5 was actually a fragrance that was a little unexpected, I think. Versace Man Eau Fraiche. Yes, Versace Man Eau Fraiche, ton of hype in the community. It's still a fragrance that a lot of people really adore for those hotter days, those days in spring where it's 80 and above, those really, really hot days in the summertime. It's a great fragrance for those occasions, I think. I think that this is like one of the quintessential summer fragrances from the designer end. I would wear it, if I don't own a bottle and I don't plan on buying a bottle, but if someone gifted it to me or something like that, I would wear it as one of those like dumb reach white t-shirt and khaki shorts kind of day where I'm out and about and it's pretty hot out, running around doing fun things with the friends, just casually. Really great casual fragrance. Longevity, projection, not great, but it's, again, a fragrance that's more or less built for the hotter, more humid days. So not necessarily a Swiss Army knife in the sense of it, projecting and lasting and all that throughout those colder months, but if you're living in a more hot climate or just using it for indoors in the office, it is a great selection, and I would give it a solid 7.5 out of 10 based on its performance and its smell. It does smell like a really nice, crisp, green apple, sort of cool, brisk scent. And I think for the most part, most anyone would be very, very comfortable with wearing it. It's easy to like. I bought it for my stepfather on several occasions for birthday, Christmas, whatever. And he's always enjoyed wearing it. And he's someone that doesn't really, care about what he wears. He just kind of sprays it on. So he enjoys it, if that means anything to you out there. So, yeah, Versace Man Eau Fraiche coming in at number 5. Coming in at number 4, I actually thought that this was going to be a little bit higher or lower, whatever way you want to look at it, like in the number 1 or 2 spot. But here we are, number 4, Chanel's Bleu de Chanel Eau de Toilette, specifically Eau de Toilette. Yeah, this is going to go down in history as one of the greatest selling fragrances of all time. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. There are so many fragrances that have been created based on this blue trend that Chanel has cultivated and created, and frankly, I don't think any other house has done it as good. Yves Saint Laurent and their Y line, I think, is probably almost there or like right on the cusp. But other than them, I haven't liked pretty much anything that's been blue. Your Dylan Blue, can't stand it. I think it's terrible. Can't wait for the comments on that one, because so many people love it, but I can't stand it. But yeah, Bleu de Chanel Eau de Toilette is a phenomenal scent. It's phenomenal. It's grapefruit and incense and some woods. A lot of people love it. It's for good reason. It's a great daily driver. You could wear it all year long. It's great for the office. It's great to be dressed up or dressed down. It's just truly the embodiment of being a Swiss Army knife. It's just perfect for any gentleman out there that maybe only want like one or two colognes, maybe a more fresh selection and then a more sweet selection. And this one could definitely suit the bill for any occasion. So I would give it personally a solid 9 out of 10 because of its performance, all being great. It was kind of the original as far as going into that blue direction. So I'm not going to take originality points away from it. It's not this fragrance's fault that so many other fragrances have followed in its footsteps. So yeah, I think it's the best of the blue, 100%. Coming in at number 3 is Creed's Aventus, and I wish I could say that I was surprised by this, but it is such a divisive scent that so many people have claimed, whether they love it or hate it. There's all these different batches and batch variations, and lots of hoopla over spending thousands of dollars on Z01 or S01. Personally, and I'm kind of kicking myself for this now, I owned over 4 4-ounce flasks of S01, which to this day does remain my favorite formulation of Creed Aventus because it was on the smokier, more ashy end of Aventus, which I preferred because it lasted longer and it projected more and it was a little bit more interesting, opposed to just like that pineapple forward variation. We won't get into that too much though, because that just becomes absurd. We get into absurd territory when it comes to the batches. But either way, Aventus has created something, kind of a name for itself, if you haven't noticed, and it has really, really made niche fragrances become a little bit more in the spotlight for people out there that never knew that world existed. So Aventus has become like it's definitely the most popular niche fragrance ever sold, guarantee it. And there are so many people that love to hate it, and there are so many people that just riff on it. However, I find Aventus to be a wonderful fragrance. I mean, I can't sit here and say, as a fragrance aficionado, as a fragrance lover, that it doesn't deserve all of the love that it gets. It absolutely does. It created a following unlike anything I've ever seen. And for good reason. It's a wonderful, wonderful scent. I will say that there are a lot of narratives that are kind of misguide the consumer, with women loving it, etc. I find that actually mostly men love it. I've gotten a lot of compliments with it from men, which is fine, because again, we should be wearing fragrance for us, right? Like, you should be wearing fragrance for you, for your enjoyment, for your comfortability, for your confidence. And if it makes you feel confident, then more power to you. Yeah, Aventus. It's going to be a legend forever. And yeah, it's definitely one that I think is worth the hype. I personally don't like the prices as far as how expensive it's gotten. It used to be I could purchase a 4-ounce flask for about $200, and now you're lucky if you can get a 50 ml for like $280 or $300. So either way, though, I would give Aventus a solid 9.5 out of 10. On to number 2. Coming in at number 2, again, not one I'm very surprised about. It is Dior Sauvage. That's right, Dior Sauvage. I remember when that came out, I was so disappointed. I was like mad at that release. I was angry because we had been given gifts from Dior, such as Dior Homme and Dior Homme Intense, and all these wonderful, wonderful scents. Fahrenheit. They're all very original and very, very daring, and kind of recalibrating what it meant to be a man wearing a more unisex or feminine leaning fragrance when it came to like those powdery iris bombs that were the Dior Homme line. Yeah, so Sauvage was basically an ambroxan pepper bomb with some bergamot, And it really took me like a year to grow on it, and I did end up really liking it, especially the eau de parfum concentration of it. I think that nutmeg really was enhanced and made it a more enjoyable experience for me. However, yeah, it's popular for a reason. It is a good smelling fragrance that you can wear anytime, any place, all seasons. I think that the new Elixir is my favorite from the entire line. Because it's the most original and kind of has some of those 80s vibes, those 80s throwback vibes. As far as the way that the fragrance wears, it's more like almost like a fougere. But the original Sauvage made a name for itself for a reason. It's, again, one of those Swiss Army knives. You can't fault it for doing a good job at what it was intended to do. And I think for anyone out there, for a beginning an introductory fragrance for someone that's like in college or in high school, it's a great scent. I would give it an 8 out of 10. Projection, longevity is all there. The only thing is the smell. Everyone's going to recognize it at this point because everyone knows it. And other than that, there's really no faults to the fragrance. So yeah, Sauvage, good stuff. And finally, number 1, I was a little surprised by, to be honest. I'm not surprised that it made it on the top 10. I would have guessed that it'd be like 10 or 9. But number 1, Versace Eros. I'm very surprised by it. It's kind of like a citrusy, smarty smelling fragrance almost. I feel like it's kind of like a candied element to it. Really, really nice. I do like Eros. I think Eros is a great night out clubbing scent. One of my best friends who passed away, he loved Eros. When he and I first started we did some YouTube videos together years and years ago, 5 years ago. I reviewed his bottle of it, and that was his signature scent for a couple years, and then he kind of caught the fragrance bug and started liking some of the niche stuff that I wore, so he stopped buying it and bought some other stuff. But I think for anyone out there that wants a fragrance that is decent projection, long-lasting, a compliment magnet, because it's a little bit sweeter, and I find that most people that enjoy fragrance around you end up liking sweeter scents, to be honest, or fresher scents. Those are really like the main two that most people gravitate toward. And yeah, this is a wonderful scent. I think that you can wear it during the day. You can wear it if you're in college, if you're in high school, if you're going out to party, if you're going to the club, if you're going to a bar, if you're going to dinner. It's pretty much something that you could wear anywhere. The only place that I think that may not be appropriate for is if you're working at a desk job. Just because of the nature of the scent, it doesn't smell super refined or professional. It smells more playful, and it does project a little bit more. So maybe be careful with that. But yeah, another release where I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10 based on all of its performance and as far as how pleasant it is with its smell. So for any of you out there that are looking for a bottle, that are just getting into the game, or maybe haven't checked these out yet and you've been collecting for 6 months or a year, these are my thoughts on the most popular fragrances. Obviously only with one niche fragrance in there, but yeah, the rest of them are going to be fragrances you can find on discounters or whatever for like $40, with the exception of the Dior and Chanel, which will probably cost you around $80. So yeah, happy hunting if you want to go check them out, and I hope you all enjoyed, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye.